What team is Nova on? I don't know.
Oh.
Um.
Phoenix is on. Is there a way you can like check who's like who's in a role or something?
It says next to their names in the thing they sent.
Is this the right one?
If you look next to it, for trolls it's like the tank symbols and support symbols, etc. And the other one did it like DPS colon, support colon, tank colon.
No, like I mean, for example, if someone's on, let's just say our team VD Elite.
Oh.
Is there a way to check like?
Oh yeah, just tap like their name and it'll be in their tags.
Wait, I'll ask you after the game. I don't think you get me. Right.
Okay.
So Ilios first map. On Ilios there's it's well, so there's a few things that come to mind with well. Do you want to elaborate, Jack?
Well, Orisa Hog, very prominent, as well as a lot of other environmental kills into the hole. Fire Mercy's also pretty strong on this map, because there's a lot of, you know, very slim corridors to spam down, and covered, yes.
Also some hit scans are pretty good on this map. A good example is Ashe, sometimes McCree, and even Widow. So it's gonna be interesting seeing what both teams run.
I expect Orisa. I knew it.
Alright, so we have Orisa Hog on one side and then Orisa Sigma on the other. Pharmacy, Genji, Moira Mercy, that's okay. Hanzo, McCree, Moira, and then Orisa Hog. So it's gonna be interesting seeing how this all plays out.
2, 1. Round 1. Capture the
It will be Mr. Wasim. I honestly think the fights are going to be a bit more sided towards Gehenna though, because 2 shields and the pharmacy is going to be putting out a lot of damage, but we shall see.
Very true.
Does make it to the point first, and they are bunkered down. If their shield's already broken, it's going to force them to retreat a little bit around the corner. Maya's also been forced out of her ice block already, and she's kind of stuck in the little lighthouse to the side. It looks like she's going to make it back to her team in time, though.
So,
Did you
that's the first pick on Super Ellis. Pheonix tried getting that pick on the Mei. That's going to be really good for him, since now he can actually push the team of Gehenna. Wait, no. Yeah, he can push the team of Gehenna and essentially not be frozen. So, good first fight win on the side of. What was the name of the team again?
Pheonix is the blue team, and Gehenna is the red team. Speaking of that,
oh, that's a big
Pheonix
pick on
just
the
got
fire,
2 opening
considering
picks
she
on
has
both the DPS.
barrage here.
Yeah. There's no barrage, there's not really like any burst damage that can come out in the backline suddenly. The res does come back out, bringing her back to life.
So, Rims here is going to be looking for a good barrage. I'm assuming that's going to be coming soon.
Oh, he goes down.
Unless he gets taken out again by the Hanzo.
So
this is really interesting to see, considering Benji's Hanzo. Oh, and the blade comes out, and the beat to counter it. So that's unfortunate, and that's Pheonix Red using his Dragon Blade without getting any value. Oh, that's a big pick on the side of Gehenna. Now they can possibly push up and capitalize, considering the less amount of healing.
That's a huge hole, but all of them could get out. It's so unlucky.
Alright, looks like Frims here is looking for the barrage.
He is. He's concussioning, blasting over, and going to be pressuring the enemy Ashe here. A couple rings go in and the barrage also.
That's the enemy Ashe dead.
No DPS anymore for Pheonix, and the Lucio goes down too.
And it looks like here, as soon as they clean up, that's going to be the fight win. Unless, yeah, they managed to clean it up. They're down on fire, but I'm assuming it's just going to get Trez back up.
Probably. The beauty of mercy. I need to cough 1 second. Okay, we back.
Alright,
So,
so for Pheonix, it looks like they have Bob this fight, which can be a really useful zoning ult and can apply a bit of point pressure. So it's gonna be interesting to see how he decides to use the ultimate. Pheonix open up with 3 ults here actually. So if they lose this fight, they're gonna be in big trouble. However, they do manage to capture the points and picks, and they seem to be getting the picks. So eventually, it turns out that Pheonix's ults have actually won them the fight, which is exactly what you want when you're using and investing that many ults. As for the side of Gehenna, this next fight they have Sigma ult, and they're gonna be coming up on Valk and High Noon. Let's see how they decide to use them here. As Pheonix apply early pressure here on the tanks and shields of... oh, that's a massive boop by Alice, using the coach gun. And that's another pick on the McCree. It looks like Pheonix Gehenna actually will end up winning this fight. And that's the Valk out. And the beat. It looks like Gehenna will end up taking the first map here. I apologize. Pheonix will end up taking the first map here, and that's all there is to it for the first round.
Now, the next 2 maps are probably either Ruins or Lighthouse. So, Lighthouse are still quite a few environmental kill possibilities, you know. But if it's Ruins, we might see a... oh, it's not Ruins. I was gonna say, if it's Ruins, we might see a change in DPS and tank lineups, because it's more long sight lines, very good for Widow and stuff like that. But no, we are going to Lighthouse. But we are still going to see a...
now, Lighthouse is a very interesting map in terms of DPS picks. So you can go for something like Kemi, a Reaper, or a Doofus, considering how the point is closed off and very short ranged. But it looks like neither team will be going for such an approach. And interestingly enough, we can see Winston and then Orisa on the side of Pheonix.
My best guess for that would be for the high ground hit scan, potentially. And they do have a hit scan on the side of Gehenna. So he's going to be able to pressure
looks
that
like he's already
pretty
pressuring.
well.
Oh, that's a big
Yep.
pick on Pheonix here. And now it looks like the team Pheonix is actually going to start pressuring the points and possibly just cleaning up and winning the fight. It looks like the focus here is on the Zarya, and eventually they do manage to get the kill. The final kill on the Moira is about to be had, and that's the first fight.
The unorthodox...
quite a good first fight.
The unorthodox pick of Monkey there really paid out in their favor, you know, because usually you'd want your hit scan on the high ground, but with the Monkey it makes it a lot harder to set them up, because you can just jump on them and then delete them. That's how
Ellis also kind of got caught out. He was out of position and he got split off from the rest of the team, which ended up getting him killed. As we see the Primal Rage and the Dragon Shark come out from the side of Pheonix here, they're going to be looking to get a few picks. They've already got one. Let's see if they're gonna be able to capitalize more and possibly get more. As we see the Reinhardt pressuring the Moira, or backing out, and looks like they'll be able to kill the Rein here, and that was at the expense of their Monkey.
There's quite a few ults coming up though for both teams, big ults. Grab is almost available for Gehenna. Shadow is ready, and so is Beat. Devastate if they need it for anything that Pheonix can throw at them.
Let's see. Alright, so Pheonix open up with Bob, which is big actually, considering
Shadow hits.
they managed to get the pick. That's a big shatter though, and that's the Lucio down on side, and that's also the Moira down, so they have no heals now. This is a very winnable fight for Gehenna, but it looks like in the end the DPS on Pheonix are clutch, and they end up, and it looks like they're gonna end up getting the round 100-0.
extremely clean from
Victory.
Pheonix there, especially on the second point. Not really contested much, to be honest, and I think a big part of it is because of the monkey pick. It was pressuring the backline and the DPS of Gehenna a lot, and they didn't really end up
Yeah,
doing much against it. The monkey pick, not the monkey, the Reaper pick was there, but he just didn't get any opportunities to get the monkey.
it just looked like they didn't know what exactly they wanted to do with. It was like they didn't know whether they should deal with the monkey or whether they should deal with the Ash or the Hanzo, and essentially at the end it was just all unorganized and ended up leading to their first loss. 1-0 so far to Pheonix. Let's see how the rest of the series progresses.
I do not know what the next map is, if I'm completely honest. Or Hanamura is the next map. So Hanamura, 2 CP, everyone's least favorite. You know, I forget what's called, game mode, but interesting strategies can be ran on 2 CP, mostly sim strategies. You see them probably most prominently. You know, just TP to the point. Who needs to fight, choke, press W, all that, when you can just whoosh. So might see a little bit of that, or we might see some more standard team comps with the big DPS plays, which would be preferable. What are your thoughts and views on Hanamura,
Yeah,
Mr. Wissim?
Hanamura's chokes are definitely cagey and difficult to go through, but if you manage to go through them and get an open fight, usually the attacking team will more often than not win the fight, so it's going to depend a lot on the tank play and possibly a few picks from the DPS to open up the first point on whoever is attacking. So it's going to be interesting to see. What I would predict, I mean comps I would predict that both teams are going to run are most likely going to be either Ryan Zarya, or maybe we'll see a bit more of that Ursa Winston that Pheonix had going the last game.
It would be nice to see, because it's abnormal team comp, and it worked pretty well for them. Especially on a second point Hanamura, there's a lot of different angles to cover on second point Hanamura, and if you can either get one of your DPS, either defense or attack, set up on the high ground, it's really hard for the opposing team to displace that. Especially when you have to fight on the objective, there's a lot going on, and having to have one person or more people from your team just go up and deal with a singular hit scan can be a pain sometimes.
This is very true. Now, on the second point of Hanamura specifically, that is usually known as that is basically a hit scan's playground, and essentially both teams' win condition is to grant their hit scan the high ground advantage in order to rain down damage from above.
I am quickly checking stuff. Oh. They are sorting out the SRs. Okie dokie. 1 second. Mr. Arch Augustus, so far,
Yes,
who from the first map at least, performance-wise, would you say have been stand out with how they've been playing?
I actually really enjoyed looking at how many picks Wo Sohee here was getting. He was
on Hanzo, yes.
actively on the kill feed. I also saw him hit a few shots on the fire and mid-air, which are very difficult shots to land. And yeah, so far he's been really the standout performer.
Mm. He's definitely been pretty consistent so far on the first map, getting the picks that are necessary. Uh, but the tank line for PA as well are definitely quite strong. Uh, it's not common that you have people who flex to not flex necessarily, but play both off and main tank because I believe they had double shield in the first map with the Sigma, and then moving over to the Winston in the second map. I suppose Winston can act as an off tank pretty well, but he's primarily known as a main tank. So seeing someone switch roles like that in one map is pretty impressive too.
It is very impressive, and I was also impressed by his Winston play. In the first fight of the second round, he actually managed to isolate one of the DPS heroes on the enemy team, which led to the opening pick and eventually led to them winning the fight.
I believe it was the Ash. I think it was Pheonix.
That is correct.
It's really awkward having a player called Pheonix and a team called Pheonix because
I was actually about to say that.
I can't think of anything else to say. I'm gonna say hello to chat. When in doubt, say hello to chat.
Where's the stream link, by the way?
I can get it for you quickly.
Thank you, sir.
Copy link.
Oh wait, is it the one? Is it? Yeah, this is the one actually.
It is
Found
this
it's on YouTube, isn't
one,
it?
Habibi. Yes, yes. Oh, you found it, Brave, and sent it to you. Absolute genius.
Appreciate the compliment, bro.
So, I believe we're just waiting for Gehenna's roster. Got a big prediction from Jardio saying Gehenna is gonna win this map, so true. Oh, more predictions from Jardio saying Pheonix is gonna more or less carry the next map. So high standards already set for Pheonix Red.
It's definitely gonna be an interesting map. Hanamura is Hanamura games are usually quite long games, but it's gonna be interesting to see what team comps both teams decide to run and how they execute.
I'm almost not guaranteed, but almost sure there'll be some sim shenanigans at some point.
Yeah. Considering it's Hanamura, there will more than likely be some kind of symmetry or some kind of cheese ran, something like a Torb or a Sim, maybe even a Bastion. It depends, really.
It really does. We have some support swaps, I think, for Gehenna. And maybe a tank too. One of the teams is ready. We almost good to go. People be very slow with the replies.
And so, interestingly enough, it looks like Gehenna is going to run Blake, which is one of the lower SR players in the league. It's going to be really interesting seeing how he plays with people at higher ranks, and it's also going to be really interesting whether or not he'll be able to manage or not.
Nova is spectating the wrong team. Mouse, how could you? I'm not familiar with Blake, to be fair, but my best guess is they're more familiar with a certain hero that they want in this map compared to the rest of the team. So
It might be a specialist, maybe. One hero.
there could just be the rest of the team are, or the other spots in the team are more preferred to Lucio or Moira, and they don't really play something like Mercy, let's say. Blake is prefers the Mercy, has more experience, so that's why they're swapping them in and out.
It's gonna be really interesting seeing how what comps both teams run.
I'm excited to honestly see some non-sim strats because I really don't understand how people attack first point, at least as DPS, because I know it's a lot to do with the walls and stuff and the high sight lines, but I in practice I just can't do it. So
It is very difficult as a DPS player myself. Attacking on Hanamura first is probably one of the most difficult points to attack in the entire game, maybe apart from Anubis first. But the reason for that is basically there's only really one proper choke he can go through, and more often than not the enemy team's gonna be pressuring that choke. So what you have to do as a DPS player is essentially play all the high grounds, the window, and in a time space of maybe 1, 2, if you're lucky 3 seconds, hit a shot that will define the team fight.
oof, sounds tricky. We have got a double hit scan coming up from Gehenna against the double shield that's on Pheonix, so it might be a little tricky for them, but depending on how close the tanks hold, the Widow could definitely grapple up and get some shots into the back half of Pheonix. We are going to see Widow try and get some shots off onto the Ashe, and she does force down the high ground, making her really low, giving the tanks a bit of an opportunity to push in here in the front line. But I guess they're just waiting for this shield to regen, because the amount of damage that is going into that Rhine shield is ridiculous. It's constantly being spammed at, almost always broken, really making it hard for them to through this early choke, which is something that we mentioned a little early on. Then it does come up, but it does get blocked by this shield of Nightflix, and it looks like they're possibly getting a chance to walk in here. Probably just feeling out the water a little
Nightflix
bit.
here is actually getting really close to his shatter. If he manages to land a big shatter, that might actually be enough to win his team the team fight. However, it's going to be really difficult to land one considering the team comp he's playing against.
You're right, but Lamp does come out, and that's going to make it a lot easier to land that shadow and fall up on it. And he does land the shadow,
And he actually manages to land a big shatter
onto the Orisa, and can't fall up, but it allows the rest of the team to go in with the coalescence that was popped by Aquatic. And they're going to rush in the point here, taking down My Dog Squeaks. Res comes through for Nightflix too. Unfortunately, Aquatic does fall to the passive of Super Ellis. It looks like the point is mostly secured. 2 extra ults pop just to make sure they can cap this point. With only Trill and Marmon left alive for Pheonix, it's not going to be easy to retake, but they're going to try. And unfortunately, they do end up losing the point. That was a tough fight. Mostly came down to Nightflix shout really opening up that first point. Because once that lamp was used, there was really nothing to deteriorate. Well, not deteriorate, but stop them from following up, and they just ran in with the coalescence and forced their way.
Very right. It looks like Gehenna here is going to be going straight to point, which I don't really see the point in, considering, you know, Ryan and Zarya are really getting close choke points. And that...
Remember what you pointed out there, it's a lot better for Ryan and Zarya to fight in close quarter combat, and if you take a longer against a spammy comp like Bonka, it's not going to work out too well for you, and Pheonix just ends the fight with a whole Riptire more or less, instantly getting 2 picks. And then
actually, what I'd like to see from Gehenna here is maybe a swap off the comp, because it looks like they're afraid of going to the high ground because of the Junkrat pick, but they also can't really play low ground because they're playing Ryan Zarya. What I'd like to see from them is maybe a Divey setup or possibly even an Orisa based comp in order to be able to mitigate all that damage that Junkrat is going to be putting on.
I mean, Super Alice has a bit of a bizarre Junkrat playstyle in my opinion. He doesn't usually play chokes as much as other Junkrats. He's more of like a I don't want to say frontline, it's a bit bad wording, but he's definitely more offensive and less choke focused than most Junkrats. So
it's very true. He looks like the playstyle he goes for is a playstyle that goes mostly around getting picks for
the
them.
into the dragon for the mercy. That's so unlucky. The trades here are quite amusing.
I apologize,
Let's
that
go
was
down.
kind of funny.
It does get red stop. I'm just gonna force him back. Where he picking up? I think that's Wu. It's Wu Shi or something like that. I'm gonna butcher your name every time. I'm sorry. He's gonna pick up 2 or 3 there.
And you see, this here is the exact problem that I was talking about with running Ryan Zarya into the enemy team comp on Hanamura second. You simply do not have enough resources to be able to reach the enemy and do significant damage before dying.
And as we mentioned, like before we learned the map, the McCrew didn't use that high ground presence to get a lot of value here, and without that he's gonna struggle a lot more. Does end up getting a pick on Pheonix, but it does get res. Moon is gonna come out. Oh, both he and Norman both getting a pick. Norman getting a second one. Moon not getting any value. And they're just gonna push the remainders of Gehenna here back into the spawn for another fight when they kind of invested a fairly big ultimate into. Noon can get a lot of value on this point with how open it is. But it was
yeah, but it looks like in the end they didn't really manage to get any value because they didn't really bait out any cooldowns, and at the same time, if they were ult tracking properly, they would have known that Pheonix was actually approaching or had the Orisa Bungo, which with the damage they have was gonna instantly melt their tank line and their DPS line as well.
It does definitely look like Gehenna are looking for a Dragon Blade combo here. And with this close quarter fight that they're about to take, it could be very possible Dragon is going to come through, forcing the tank line back. Holt force them back in though and getting Blake again. The rest of Pheonix are going to push in to the side. Blade is going to come out without the Graviton. He does get ramp out. I guess there's 2 picks out of it. Ripper also being used defensively. He does full while using
Pheonix.
But Matrix does go down, and there's trades kind of each side. A free up for... Oh, I was about to say free up for Gehenna, but headshot right onto Pheonix, gonna make it 2, and it's gonna signal that.
And also he's still one of the standout performers on this Pheonix team, and he's just proving why every fight he keeps landing those consistent Hanzo headshots, which are essentially helping his team really win these fights. That's a big grab coming out, but unfortunately there was no sustain. Oh, but Aquatic Blue with the Coalescence gets 4, and that's the 5th from Pheonix on...
And Frums was there early, so he got a tick for free. They are only 4 people right now, but they do have resources.
It looks like they will capture the points.
With the 3 people on point, they take up really quickly. And Frum's getting there a little bit earlier, allowing to get that extra tick before anyone could really get back. It was pretty huge. That looks really dire there too.
Very big play by Gehenna. Their use of Coalescence and Grab was very good. They also managed to get out Immortality very early, which ended up actually winning them the map, winning them the second point, and maybe possibly give them a chance at second offense here, depending on how well...
I'm pretty sure they will get a second offense because they did not finish in overtime. But
well, that depends really, because they could really hold first point.
Oh,
and
my bad, I am stupid.
Ready for battle.
Oh, dive. Defense dive? No, attack dive. Okay.
Looks like they're gonna be sticking with the Ryan Zarya comp, which also has a Mei, which might pose a few problems for the dive tanks that Pheonix are running. And it looks like we're gonna have Super Alice on the Widow here with Boso, he playing the Tracer.
Let's switch off to Genji. So they're probably going to be looking for a pretty aggressive playstyle here. With
And most
a
likely
full
gonna be
Pheonix.
prioritizing the Hanzo, and then possibly trying to work up from there.
The only major issue I see is essentially the Moira. It's going to be a lot harder for a Moira to follow up healing the tanks and stuff, unless they're playing like around the fact that she has shorter range than some of the other healers. But we'll see how it goes.
Looks like the Pheonix here setting up for the dive, and that's the Winston and the bubble out. Usahi already goes down, and then that looks like a very smooth and easy teamfight win for Gehenna here.
The dive came through, and they did pressure the Hanzo pretty well. As you said, they probably prioritize the Hanzo because he's probably the most vulnerable on the team of that's Gehenna. It's so hard when I see Pheonix, man. I'm sorry. But Pheonix just landed a couple headshots on the monkey. It does so much damage, you're not going to live through 2 headshots. And then the rest of the team of Gehenna just kind of managed to stabilize and get the picks that were needed to.
Now it looks like they're just going to run mirror tank matchups, but unfortunately for Pheonix at least, Gehenna's tanks have more help really with the presence of that Mei, and that could possibly really tilt the fight in their favor as much as they need it. Also here though here finding a pick on the Mercy, and both coalescences for both teams come out. It looks like it's even on both sides, but that could be subject to change at any moment. Blizzard coming out here from Frums, and it looks like he managed to freeze Orion, which will result in a pick, and now he's also looking to
I'm on fire.
get a few more picks. They managed actually to win that team fight, which is actually pretty huge considering how both teams used the ults that fight. However, Gehenna Pheonix here coming up on a few very key ultimates. That by that I mean Beat, Shatter, and even possibly Bob.
Well, they also have a Grav Dragon combo coming up defensively for Gehenna, and the Dragon did just come online, so that's going to be
That's a big pick from Alice, taking away the rest potential, and
he's getting the
that's
second healer too.
thing. And it looks like really Pheonix are just gonna win this fight without really using any ults, or they could just use ults on the last remaining to guarantee the fight. And that was a very good point 8 and it looks like Super
really nice
Alice
opening
here
picks
doing
from
some
Alice,
good work.
He didn't want Roshi to have all the spotlights, so he's just like, you know what, I'm gonna get 1, 2, and there's the third. The ults that were used for that cap might not have been necessary, but they probably were aware of the tank ults being almost ready on the side of Pheonix, so they're like, it's better to be safe than sorry. Use our ults here, and Grav is going to be using his 4 people. There's the Dragon combo getting both supports, and that's probably going to force them back
that's
pretty
all
quickly.
they're gonna need to win the fight.
Alice
And
also
it looks
going
like the
down.
tanks of,
Am I seeing teabagging?
Pheonix are leaving.
Netflix, you can't do that, bro. That's toxic. But I'm just going to assume that's what they were scared of on the side of Pheonix getting Grav Dragon when they worked so hard to get the point, or 2 point at least, and getting the capture presence on it. That's why they were using this. Oh, the albeit was pretty nice. 3 people.
Friends here really splitting up Pheonix in half, but no one really there to follow up, and it looks like it's quite an even fight here. But you need to keep in mind that there's a really strong spawn advantage, especially on 2CP maps, and this here really goes on to prove why you really can't lose any players in these kinds of points, because really it's like you're basically fighting a very jolt out fight with the team comps that you have at hand, and respawns are going to be coming in for the team with the closer respawn, you know?
Alice does get an limping pick there, allowing Pheonix to walk right through the main choke. Mabel does come in from behind. Shadow is blocked. Blitz is also thrown out for Gehenna, trying to hold this last point desperately. They don't pick up Marmot there. Shadow does come through, unfortunately misses. He got knocked up by something, I'm not completely sure what. But Bob on point is going to pressure the front line.
And that's also the coalescence out from Shadow, but it looks like it's not going to matter in the end.
Phoenix picking up 2 picks.
That's another hold.
Phoenix picking up 2 picks there, I believe onto both supports. And Nightflix getting a pin onto someone too. Oh no.
Pheonix and Frims have been popping off this round.
DPS have been doing a lot on both teams, to be fair. Alice is getting a lot of solid picks, so he has been, and so has Frims and Pheonix too. Everyone in the DPS role have been quite consistent with the picks they're getting. Looks like they're going to be pushing to the top right here. Wall does go through and doesn't catch anyone off guard, so they're going to be able to push in pretty freely now that's done. And they're going to be pushing up the right side stairs. The dragon does come through, separating the front line and the back line of Pheonix. And Mad Dog Sweet's in a really awkward position, but Trump does speed boost the rest of the team.
Going down.
Grab going through, getting 2 originally, but 4 people end up getting input because of the stop. Shadow hitting 3 people, and the follow-up is there for a few people. Unfortunately, not all of the people do end up dying, but just a bit of a stagger fight
going down to Aqua, and I'm feeling getting super Ellis, so Gehenna, like Pheonix now doesn't really have any DPS players, and the Ryan is frozen, so that looks like another team fight loss for them.
Pheonix is not the team Pheonix, but the player Pheonix. I might just start calling him Red to be fair. Is kind of coming in clutch with a lot of these picks, and it's as we mentioned, if the high ground DPS, which he's most of the time on high ground, isn't contested, it can be a real, you know, pain to capture the point, because you have a constant damage coming in from somewhere, and there's so many different angles you can be shot from. And if that isn't dealt with...
Speaking of which, Pheonix here are actually in a lot of trouble if you take a look at the ultimates that Gehenna here has up.
They have 4 ultimates, almost 5 with the coalescence ready. They do get an image onto Pheonix. Shadow does come through, I don't believe it hits anyone. Bob is thrown out, but he fell below point. That's unfortunate. Grav coming through only gets 1. Edison ends up getting a Blake with the Bob, and then picked up another 2, another 3.
But Ellis popping off here.
Pheonix does get back, but it's only him, and there's only 1 tick they need to capture here. And both teams are going to get
the many ults that Pheonix had, they actually end up losing the point.
A lot of the ults came to no value. I believe the Shatter Miss and the Girl only hit 1 person. It was kind of like in a bit of a awkward position to follow up on while you're getting like pushed by the rest of the team with all the ults that they're throwing in. So the Grav could have been saving because it hit the Moira who was in coalescence, but it just wasn't possible to follow up on it. So.
Alright, you are very right. Now this is the really interesting part when it comes to 2CP, is seeing what kind of team comps the 2 teams are gonna run with the little time back that they actually have.
And if we go based on the first attacks of both teams, I believe Gehenna had a much stronger attack and defense, so I'd say they're quite favored based on their performance in the prior rounds. They got the point quite a bit faster, and they also held for quite a bit longer too, defensively, so that may also coming out is gonna make it a lot harder. Looks like they're setting up for a sim strat here though, so that's gonna let Pheonix go right through the main choke, and it may be the downfall, but they do have a sim.
There's the symmetry we were actually talking about earlier. It looks like they want to take the fight straight to the point. It's going to be interesting to see.
SimTV is going to go onto the high ground here, and allow them to get a lot of spam in from over the top of that Orisa shield. And they're going to push in the point now, they force them backwards here. Rook does come out, but it doesn't hit anyone. Fire Strike, honestly kind of huge. It hit a few people with Pheonix getting an early
Super Ellis here in the backline.
Backline pick was there,
the res, but it's on his own really. And it looks like he's gonna be taken out here by Aquatic Blue, and no picks have been given up.
And late deaths on the tanks could be kind of worrying for Pheonix. They're not going to have much time to recontest. Only 10 seconds on the clock right now, and the tanks are only just respawned, so someone's going to have to touch. And I'm not completely sure who it's going to be. It looks like Lucio is going to try and make it there. He gets so close with boot back. Moira does make it on point just in time.
About managed to touch, but they already lose 3 and...
and there's the 4th.
It's the
tanks
4th,
make it back,
only the tanks left, and it looks
Rain
like
gets
these
flashed
tanks
and
are not
frozen.
gonna last long.
High Noon coming up just to figure out the Diva. You don't need it. It's not going to go into next round, so worth using. And there's a Blizzard, so even if they did make it back for a final fight, it's going to be tough to win that over Blizzard. Now,
good hold from Gehenna here.
We need to see if they can get the 1 tick on the side of Gehenna and making it a 1-1, or if it's going to end up being a draw. But we have to wait 17 whole seconds, bro. That's a long time to see what the teams are running. I've got hiccups. Help.
Ready for battle.
The attack sim strat against the defensive double shield sim Hanzo. Sim May. I am blind.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
A mercy lock too. That mercy lock might come pretty big, end up being pretty big to be honest, because if they lose someone early in the fight, we've only won 21 seconds. Resing that pick back up is going to save them a lot of time. Instead of having to wait 10 seconds to respawn, of 5 or so seconds to walk back. Their res could potentially get a load of value.
5,
Or it might just
3,
not come into play,
2,
who knows.
1.
Looks like Alice is going to wall off at the spawn here to get a little bit of extra time.
It looks like Frumzir is going to be bringing out the Sin.
They have arrived at choke. Wall does come through, doesn't catch him off guard, and the TP is going to be placed down on the right side of the point. Might be able to catch out Shadow Blaze here. He does get stunned but fades out of danger. And poor Nightflix gets rocked and frozen immediately.
But this is the rest that we were talking about. They're already bringing Nightflix back. And
the halt though afterwards, before the rain can really do anything because of the shield, the res animation, it locks you for a couple of seconds. He couldn't bring his shot up to the halt and it just...
Ooh, Frumzir getting 3, Pheonix getting the 3rd.
Those are kind of big picks, especially if they can get back in time. Because there's only
considering the
2
spawns
tanks
of both teams, this is very favorable for Gehenna right now. They managed to get back a point fast enough.
Left the front, the tanks alone, so there's no healers here for Pheonix right now. If they push in, this could be kind of scary for the side of Pheonix, and that's exactly what they're going to do. The call was probably made that there's no healers, and the tanks are just going to kind of fall here without any support. Looks like the supports do come back just
getting
in
really
time.
low and taking out, Shadow also falling down, but also he is answering with a pick on Netflix, but that gets dressed back up, and now Pheonix goes down. It looks like it's not gonna matter, and from the looks of it, Gehenna here might be able to just take the victory on Hanamura.
That might have actually been a bit of a misplay from Troll there, going back to speed the rest of the team back. Although in theory it's a good idea, the tanks were left without any support on point, and Gehenna made the right decision just to run into them with the knowledge that they're waiting on respawn still. Aquatic though, probably the 4-man. Yeah, the 4-man grab for This was crucial. Cirillas picked up 2 picks on some pretty huge carriers.
This is very big actually.
4 people did. So Gehenna takes map 2, bro, making it 1-1.
Gehenna tying up the series.
Gehenna, bro. Gehenna.
Epic.
To be expected.
I am not familiar with next map either, but I think it is a... what have we played so far? We have played Control, 2CP. It's probably Payload or Hybrid, so we'll see. What Hybrid? I'm hungry. It's Nambani, so it's Hybrid. Okay, I'm gonna get a snack quick while you talk about this map, so 1 sec.
Okay. Alright, so for Numbani, it's actually a very interesting map because a lot of old school compositions can be run on this map. A very good example of that is dive with a hit scan on the high ground, which in the old days of Overwatch, when dive was prevalent, you'd usually run a soldier on the high ground with a mercy pocket, and then you just have your tanks rotate around the other high ground and point. So really here, it's going to be really interesting to see what kind of team comps both teams opt to go for. You could also on offense especially run the Tracer Genji dive setup, which can control high ground really well and exert a lot of pressure on the enemy team's backline and possible hit scan or squishy targets. Other comps that can be run on Umbani are more specifically towards second and third point, in which if a team manages to cap, sometimes teams opt to go for the double shield bastion bunker comp on the payload, and that usually leads to a very good hold, a very good steamroll, and sometimes even leads to the team winning the map. So it's going to be really, really interesting seeing what team comp these teams opt to go for, and which team comp of the two actually ends up winning each team the map.
I am done snacking. Good, good thing analysis. Yeah. I kind of have to say, depending on the way both teams attack, obviously. With Ellis obviously being a Junkrat main, the stairway that goes onto the high ground could be a bit of a pain to push into if Gehenna, at least defensively. Obviously, there's opposite high grounds, and Pheonix has been pretty consistently on the Hanzo, so there is always the way around it. You don't need to take that left side high ground approach. You don't need to deal with that Junkrat. You just put the Hanzo up on the right, and he gets shots in for free. But if they don't take that approach, Ellis could get lots of out of the Junkrat. He's been running pretty frequently and build tires at an incredible rate. So we shall see.
It's going to be very interesting. If I were Gehenna here, I would definitely not push into the stairway because I know that on the enemy team there's a Junkrat player that is really mostly well known for his really good Junkrat play, and I would just avoid the stairs and possibly go for maybe a quick push onto the point to possibly deny the Junkrat as much like free damaging and ult charge as he would if you were to go through such a tight choke point.
We might honestly see a bit of dive. I believe Pheonix were running the dive.
I actually talked about this while you were off. I was
I know you
saying
mentioned
about
it.
how this map really enables dive and some really old school comps, and how I would like to see it.
We might see a little bit of dive for maybe the first point coming out from Pheonix, depending if they attack or defend first. You can obviously run the defensive dive, but I think over time defensive dive has become a lot harder to run and a lot less effective than what it used to be. So defense will probably see a more bunker type comp from them, and maybe on the attack we'll see a thingy. But they have changed the tank lineup for Gehenna, switching out Nightflix, who seems to be more of a range specialist with a little bit of a Orisa here and there, to I believe that's the Raven Overwatch. So I don't want to say
Yeah, it's
the
definitely
Rave
gonna
now.
be really interesting.
See, I actually can see profiles, so I can check what he plays right now. That's not much time in this season, my bad. Season 19. Lucio, maybe he is not the tank player. I will have to check lineups. Match chat. Scroll. There is no lineups. That or I'm looking in the wrong chat. I think I don't know what's going on, if I'm completely honest. It just people be having fun and stuff. Okay, they're having a big discussion. So we have to find more time to kill about talking about random stuff. We've highlighted the DPS play a lot, but is there anything else you feel like have been pretty strong from either teams? Aquatic's been doing a good balance of damaging and healing on the Moira, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I definitely agree. Especially, I think what really won them that last map was the Coalescence combo with the Grav.
That
That
was
really gave them time and
pretty
won them
crucial.
a fight that they were really never gonna win, considering they were already down 2.
It was two kind of huge picks as well. They lost their Mercy and their main tank to a Holt with Chungrat spam just thrown into it. So losing those two was kind of scary, but just the
Looks
Coalescence
like in the
Grav.
end it didn't really matter, considered
Mm.
because the ult usage out of Aquatic and
Noisy.
I believe it was Noisy,
Yes.
the Zarya, was really good. And really, considering it was last fight, they decided not to give up and just go for a risky play, and it worked out, and I ended up winning them the map.
Aside from that, the Mercy switch, I know was a bit uh, cautious because she, I don't want to assume, uh, they're on the lower side of the rank compared to a lot of the other players here. Everyone, a lot of players around 2,500, 2,750. Whereas Blake is, I don't know exact ranked, but it said 1750. So she's performing pretty well considering like how I keep saying she. I'm sorry, it's just play female character. I just assume
Let's
with
just say
gender.
she, considering that they play Mercy, and we're
It's
talking about the
easy.
Mercy.
They've been performing pretty well, and some of the reses have been really crucial to keeping fights alive and going for Gehenna. So
Yeah,
well
definitely
done to them.
agree. Blake came in with a few very clutch reses, and really those might have been the difference between winning and losing that last map.
I'm tired, bro. The
So
rain
am
play
I.
has been pretty good though. There's been a couple big shatters from both Reigns, in the last map at least. Both Reigns getting, I believe, a three-man shatter at some point in the game, which really opened up the fights and allowed their team
Yeah,
to
actually,
win.
I would like to highlight one of the plays that um, let me see, Netflix made, which was the first fight in which he built up his shatter really quickly and managed to shatter 3 people down, which ended up to a really fast point A take.
Mm. Unfortunately, you couldn't like follow up on it, but the impact it made in the fight was needed. To be fair,
Definitely mattered.
if that shadow didn't come through, it would have been incredibly hard to break that main choke, which they were struggling with. To be fair, and shatter hitting three people, both tanks and a support, if I recall correctly, definitely allows the team to get through that early choke and do what they need to do. Because we did mention for DPS, it's quite hard to get a lot of value out of that first choke. There's not many ways you can get angles, and the main place you can get angles is covered by a wall. So, not a wall, a shield. Sorry.
I
My
I
stomach.
agree. Um, That shatter was also not a very easy shatter to land because Arissa could have had her cooldown back at any point, and the Sigma still had his shield up, so it could have been easily blocked, but he actually managed to land it, and that in the end made all the difference and got him the first point on Hanamura.
Yes, indeed. I think they are still discussing something on their team, so... You know, more talking. Fun.
I will stay very up because I have other things to do.
Pepe hands.
Jack, I might have to go after the next map, by the way.
That is okay, Habibi.
Thank you, kind sir.
I can manage solo casting, but I cannot manage filling gaps of silence in a loading. Oh, we have a roster, bro. We have a roster. 5,000. Oh.
So have there been any interesting changes made so far?
One sec. I was replying to something. I believe Bub, is it Bub or Bob? Bub was swapped in, and TCRN was also swapped in for Ellis. Delirium coming in instead of Shadow Blaze too, so 3 switches. Everything else kind of stayed the same though, so we'll see how that impacts the team of Pheonix. I'm not sure what TCRN plays. I know I have heard good things about his DPS, but I'm not too familiar with it.
I'm actually quite new to the league, so I don't really know
but
how...
I'll probably be wrong. Oh, we are seeing if the teams want to attack or defend first. Defend, okay.
To be fair, I would also like to defend first usually on Umbani, because it helps you. Usually defending first is an advantage because really you have an idea of what comes to run with regards to how much time you really need. Because sometimes you're looking for like a quick attack because the enemy team has a large time back, but also other times maybe all you need is a second point cap, and therefore you would look for ultimates for heroes that build ultimates at a slow rate but have really high impact ultimates. For example, Zarya, and looking for a dragon combo or something along those lines.
All combos are pretty necessary in the current state of Overwatch, so we'll probably see some of them. I do think we're going to see 2 Hanzos, without a doubt. Pheonix and Woz been pretty consistent on the Hanzo on each side. And
it's definitely been an interesting back and forth in this matchup, with where at times Pheonix would pop off and then others, also he would pop off. But overall, it's actually been keeping this series very interesting.
Oh,
ready for battle.
There's the abnormal comp again from
Well, it looks like they're gonna be pairing it up with a Torb here.
There's not much to really support the monkey there, but
incoming in 30 seconds.
He's gonna definitely be able to apply a lot of pressure onto the Widow and maybe Blake too, depending on how much peel Blake can receive from members of her team. Like maybe the Doomfist will have to come back and knock that monkey off of him, or the Moira just gives pocket, but outside of the Doomfist, there's really not much to peel for other members of the team. You have Bubble, but it's on a long cooldown a lot, and you're now going towards your Rhine, so we shall see. I've got a bit of a split hold here for the defense side, which is fairly standard if you're running a monkey in this fashion, and Hastings usually play up on the top left too. Frums is going to actually pick out OC, so quite a huge pick early, and it's going to allow him to push up this top right, and also giving Frums the top left high ground that was previously Wosi's. I've said his name differently 8 times, I'm so sorry. They're having a bit of trouble getting through the choke here, but Pheonix does come up. Manages to get a punch in, but doesn't really connect
goes
properly.
down, but then also Frums managed to take down Osohi. It looks like here, that's a big shatter actually from the Rave, and it's still quite even this fight, but it looks like in the end the defense is actually doing better, and that's gonna be it for the first fight.
I think My Dog Sweets participated in every single kill that fight. He dealt with both the DPS, came back and assisted the team with the fight that was going on in the high ground. The shadow was big, but it was pretty hard to follow with both your DPS falling to the Winston. So
I would see a few switches on the side of Pheonix here, in which Frums has decided to actually go with the far option.
They are going to be pushing low ground, and Dog Sweets does get stunned, but the whole I forget what that ult is called, to be honest. I just call it rated 18 word. It does pick up 3 people, and he follows up a 4th with the ult fire, and they're going to look to pick up Frums here on his way out, but
it looks like my dog here is looking to get the fire, but in the end he just backs out because she manages to escape to her team.
That was a big ult combo from Bob and TCRM.
It really was, and what's going to be really interesting to see here is how Gehenna are going to approach this attack, and how they really want to or what is their plan at least to break down this really strong defense?
They are going to push this despite losing 1, but 2 defensive ults from both tanks coming out from Pheonix. They're going to make it really hard to push in here. Pheonix does take down Dog Sweets with the dragon.
That's
honestly
a big dragon,
doing so much damage, forcing
and despite going down 1 early in the fight, they actually managed to pull it back.
But they used so many ults to maintain that fight in their advantage, and there's 5 ults ready for Gehenna. They only use Coalescence that fight compared to the Bongo, the Dragon, the Wall, you know, all that went into the fight for Pheonix.
Now if you actually look at Gehenna's ults here, they really basically have 5 ults. 2 of which are Grav and Barrage here, which is going to be really difficult. So it looks like they're not really going to combo them.
It doesn't
from just wastes Barrage.
Grav also
there's the Grav coming out, there's 3 in the Grav.
Coming through. This could be the opening for this fight. It looks like Pheonix is going to get another. It's kind of just a 2v2 right now, 1 point. Pocketed McCree versus Torben Hanzo. Mercy doesn't. I say Torben Hanzo.
Like...
Yeah, it is Torben Hanzo, but the Rismos are going to come back. And Torbo just to cover the rest of the point. Maybe stop anyone who's trying to get back from coming back.
Looks like Pheonix here is actually going to full hold. With a really unorthodox comp.
I mean, sometimes it's just hard to know what to do against a team comp like that, you know? It's just something you don't expect. People are more accustomed to the standard comps, you know? Not the more
What really
wacky
confused me about that final push was the fact that Frums decided to go for a solo barrage instead of just barraging a Grav that Zarya spent basically the entire round trying to farm, so that actually might have been the reason they lost that fight, really.
Probably quite a big mistake from their team, maybe miscommunication or something, or she thought there was an opportunity for it to be bigger than what it actually ended up being in reality. The Grav was kind of big. It originally missed, but people walked into it and ended up getting free. It's just the follow-up wasn't there, and Pheonix tried his best to keep the fight going in Gehenna's favor. I believe he picked 2 or 3 picks up, as well as a noon kill, but the respawns of Gehenna just came back, and there's not much you can do. Even with a Mercy Pocket, if you're fighting 3-4 people from 3 different angles and your Mercy dies, then you're kind of left to die as well.
Yeah, he did what he could, but in the end it looks like it didn't matter.
I've got the same like tank lineup, but they switched over to double sniper this time instead of the Torb.
It looks like Gehenna here is actually unable to properly deal with the tank line that Pheonix have been running. There is a monkey really coming in clutch so far.
See if it will work out for them better on the attack. They do have a hog on the defensive side, though. That's going to make it a little harder for the monkey to get as much value, as well as a McCree flashbang. So we'll see if that pressure does end up going into the monkey to stop him from being so dominant in some of these fights. I believe he's forced to use bubble to block the Halt hook. Oh no, he doesn't use bubble, my bad. He doesn't with jumping over and playing a bubble, but I think he's slightly over jumped. He might be caught out here jumping back onto a high ground safety. Delirium taking down the Raven, and that's going to be quite a big pick. Squeaks does fall, so both teams down the tank here, but I'd much rather lose a monkey than an Arista in my opinion. TCRN getting a pick onto Aquatic, leaving, oh, there's just trades back and forth. Rez does come back, does go onto Aquatic, bring him back up, and Pheonix picks up Bullshit. TCRN getting a second pick of a fight onto another healer, but Pheonix just kind of popped off while that happened. And another pick on his way out. Dogsfees is going to try and catch him and maybe stagger that death.
TCRN actually popping off, but it looks like it's going to be cheese.
He's going to get out. Oh no, they switched to a defensive monkey for the Widowmaker. But TCRN does go down. That's a big stagger. Oof. This is a weird tank lineup. Monkey Hulk.
Excuse me for
I guess they wanted to just deal with the Widow, because TCRN was... He got 3 picks that fight, I believe. 2 supports, but one of them got rezzed, and a Mei. So, it's something quite worrying. You definitely want to put some pressure onto that. Whether you should sacrifice a Orisa for it, who knows, but we shall see.
Oh, and TCRN already taken down by Pheonix here.
Blizzard also coming out for the defense side. It's going to allow them to pick up 3 kills and force the monkey away from his team too. So.
But now if you look at the ults that Pheonix here have, they have the Bongo and Coalescence and the Dragon Strike, all ults and which can really...
Primal's probably going to build this fight too, so they have a lot.
So they are coming up on this fight with basically 5 ults, all of which have a big impact. So it's definitely going to be difficult to hold here for
the Halt and Dragon is combo too, which the Halt combo has been there for a few of these ults. Dog gonna be jumping on the high ground here, forcing Pheonix down. Someone's getting a big Delirium
goes
coming
down,
out.
and that's how Noon coming
Primal
out.
can knock him out of position so the Noon can get a bit of value, but he doesn't catch anyone. Dogsfees does go down to Noisy Noise. TCRN to pick up Pheonix in the back line. He gets a second.
TCRN takes down both
trying
DPS.
to bring the fight back into his team's
Getting
favor.
Mercy very low, but it looks like he won't be able to do any more of that fight. However, he may have done enough as Dragon Strike comes out and the Coalescence and the Bongo, and it looks like that's really all they needed to do to win the fight. TCRN here popping off and possibly giving his team the victory on this map.
Looks like Pheonix are able to recontest her with the Murph levels too. It could swing the fight back in their favor. And there is a lot of ults here defensively. They C9! I believe they got primed off the point.
You're right, he actually primed all 3 heroes that were available off the point, and they managed to cap with just that. Big plays coming out from my dog Squeaks.
His dog does squeak. Maybe, I don't know. If your dog squeaks, maybe see that. It's a big combo though.
That's a big combo here.
couldn't get the 5th, unfortunately. Ends up going down 79 kill percentage. Oof. That's a lot.
It is a very high number, and it looks like TCRN here really putting in the best performance since the start of the series.
It was kind of dire, but those 2 picks and almost third on the Mercy really opened up for his team there, allowing them to push in and get the final point. Yeah, he got Pheonix and I believe Moira. No, it wasn't Moira. It was Pheonix and someone else. I forget who. And almost
both DPS picks actually.
Oh, both DPS. That's
Pheonix
pretty big.
Thrones.
Yeah. One of them did get res back up, but they took so much damage during the res that the coalescence from Aquatic. No, it was Troll. Sorry, my bad. I get more as confused. That they all look the same. Ends up just following up on a lot of the damage she did and getting the kills that they needed to get onto the point, and eventually Cap followed by Dog's Squeak's Primal booping everyone on point, forcing the C9. Pretty huge, bro.
Alright, well, that's gonna be the last map I cast for this series. I wish luck for both teams, and good luck casting the final game, maybe couple of games.
It was a pleasure having you here, man.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Okay, so now I'm alone. I'm gonna become a chat man, even though I don't think there's many people in chat. So it's kind of sad, but oh wait, no, I'm just not getting chat notifications on my stream, I guess, or I'm blind. Hello, Hakacia. I'm sorry. Ugh. Chat, speak to me, bro. I don't know what to talk about. Oh. We go look at match chat. We do have the rosters, I think. Looks like there's gonna be a couple swaps for Gehenna. I'm not sure. Nightflix is coming back in. Nova's gonna be put on tank, so they're switching off the Orisa Monkey comp they're running, I believe, and probably going back to a Ryan Zarya type comp. Supports are staying the same, but Space Cowboy is coming in for DPS. So we'll see how that goes. Bro, I'm sad, no one's talking in chat. I can't meme with anyone. Oh no, help me. Yosh. Mr. Archer Augustus had to go. He had a soothing voice. He does have he's Arabic. He has a very nice voice. He's tall as shit too. Like we met over New Year's and I just felt like a midget, not gonna lie. I think we are waiting on the teams to be ready. We're waiting for one person on both teams. Need about another minute or two. Okay. Are you the shortest? No. There's some people in my friend group that are like 5'3". They're not like males, but they're very small people, and I don't understand how people can be that small, not gonna lie. Oh, Dorado's next map, I didn't even notice. My bad. So, Dorado is one of those maps, you know, there's a lot of strong defensive holds. Second point's extremely good for high ground DPS. They're quite hard to deal with up there. There's no one to really... Well, with a lot of comps, there's no one that can really go up there. It's high ground heaven, some may say. So, maybe the switch off of the... Oh, my controller fell. Maybe the switch off of the Ursa Monkey type of... I don't like Blizzard Ward. I'm sorry, Acacia, it sucks. Maybe the switch off the kind of abstract monkey Arista they were running might become a bit of a downfall, but it might also work. Marmon was doing a solid job on the Sigma on Hanamura, so if they look towards more of a team comp like that, then I can see it working pretty well for them, especially defensively. But as I mentioned, Dorado has a lot of defensive holds that can be pretty tough to break. The first one being really early on the first point, as you come around the corner, if people rotate to that correctly, it can be hell to break through, especially with the ease of access to the high ground that the DPS can take on flanks and the constant spam that they can throw through there, and then corners on the second point can be an issue, and Dorado's third point is almost a 2CP map at points, especially if you're coming near the cap. The respawn room is so close. It's a really nice map if you're defending, to be honest. Ready when you are, said Troll. Okay, we are just waiting for Gehenna. So... Ooh. I don't know what to talk about, bro. Oh. We're loading in.
Traveling to Dorado.
All you need to do is say you're tired in the group chat. Okay, so we're gonna get to see what both teams are running soon. I believe I did mention a couple switches a little earlier on in the stream. Space Cowboy is coming back in. He was previously on tank, but he's going to be moved over to the DPS slot now, and Knifeflix and Nova being put on tank this time for Gehenna. Nothing else really changed on Gehenna, but Marmon is going to come in, and so is Consul Jardia. So probably going to see a bit of Sigma, and I'm not sure what Jardia plays. So maybe May. He's just a big Jardia fan.
Ready for battle.
He is, dude. Oh, Arista Diva. I can see that working pretty well for them on this point. With the high ground that they'll need to be contesting quite consistently, and a Widow on both sides too. TCRN locks the Widow again, so gonna have a little duel between him and Space Cowboy. Could be fun to watch. Other than that, nothing really to highlight that exclusively here. From's, was he on the Genji before? I think he switched off when he was on before and switched over to the Genji. And we're gonna see a pretty standard Rein Zarya comp for Gehenna. So just gonna be pushing the payload here as you do until you get to the corner, waiting to scout the first little portion of the enemy team. You can see our fire strike does go through, hitting a couple people, I believe, to help him build up that shatter a little faster. Shots being taken from Cowboy here. Nothing to really hit though, because everyone's behind the shield. TCRN got quite at the weird angle here behind the team of Gehenna, but they're all just going to go around the corner. He's not going to get any more value out of that sight line. The rotation does come through for Pheonix, and they have a ward off the Ryan. He might end up falling here. Genji tries to save him with a deflect, and the ward breaks, so he's going to be able to go back to his team pretty safely with the assistance of From's. Space Cowboy end up getting the 1v1 win on TCRN here, so that's going to give him a way to push in. From's dashing and getting Consul Jardia and a D-Mech too. It looks like he's going to pick up essentially a third onto Trill, and looking for more on Delirium. He does end up going down to Nightflix though. Baby Diva kind of chilling on the left side here. Maybe he will get the third he wanted, or maybe Marmon will get. Oh, she almost got a remake, but ends up going down to a dash. Pretty clean first point take, honestly. Space Cowboy pushing up onto high ground and getting another pick. So the stagger kill is pretty vital there for the offensive side. Gonna allow them to take a lot of space here without their main healer, only a Zen for healing right now. So they can't really take too many engagements, and Wall and Ice Block have been immediately forced out. Pin does come through trying to time it correctly. Jardia ends up going down, and then looks like From's is gonna blade hit. Immortality is used, but it's a little out of the way. Doesn't save anyone. Thus gonna be a second fight win pretty smoothly here. You know, I haven't really seen Space Cowboy anything other than tank so far, but he's doing work on this Widowmaker, definitely applying a lot of damage, and I feel the Pixie's getting a pretty vital, and From's also doing a lot of work on this Genji. Speaking of Genji, TCRN has switched over to the Genji, and there's a little bit of a 1v1 going on the high ground. From's is forced to go back for hills though, and looks like Nightflix is looking for a shatter here. He does have the opportunity, but it looks like he's not going to take it. And both of the forces are going to get behind cover, so they can't be shattered. Blizzard coming out onto the front line in supports of Gehenna. Nightflix is going to be frozen and it's going to go down, but there's so many picks on the side of Gehenna already that it might not matter. Grab is used, and unfortunately misses completely, but the fight is still in Gehenna's control. Diva might end up getting demeched here. Delirium going down to Space Cowboy. Nova's just chasing Marmon, trying to get him out of the mech. TCRN getting a pick onto Nova though, mostly because of the freeze coming out from Jardio. And he also walls off the Widow sightlines. It's a huge play. Blade does come through though, with a Merciful he's going to get one pick, Bonk go two, and I believe doing a lot of damage to the Lucia, helping that kill. And they're going to roll him to second point. They do have a switch of supports on the side of Pheonix now, switching over to the Moira Lucio, just for a little bit more sustainability against the Genji, has been preventing a lot of problems so far. Nightflix also saved Shadow that fight. Oh, that's a big pick from Space Cowboy. Early pick on Delirium is going to be quite bad for Pheonix here, and It's also going to allow Gehenna to push in. Wall does end up blocking off Knifeflick, so he's going to get the support he needs to stay alive by the looks of it. With From's just applying pressure onto the Mei and taking her out. The Room does come through, and it is blocked, but From's does fall to the Coalescence. T-Sharon also getting a blade kill onto the Widow. He's looking to get more. He doesn't end up dying to the Venom Mine damage over time though. So this fight could go over way at this point. Knifeflick still has Shadow, which is definitely available. It does get one, but it looks like they're not going to be able to follow up on it. Wall comes up, just stopping him from really doing anything, and he can't get any support from his team. Mercy gets halted back, tries to fly away, but it doesn't go on the right target, and she ends up going down. Aquatic Blue looks like she's also going to force their phase out of the way in time. And Pheonix is just going to be stabilizing here, chasing as many kills as they can, try to get some staggers. They end up losing 2 because of it though, so maybe they got a little too greedy, and it could end up being the downfall for them. Knifeflick's charging in, he can't get too much resistance, he just gets frozen and dies. Looks like they're still going to take this fight though. From's going down. They're really kind of stabilizing here, taking down those people who are slightly out of position or on the back line, and punishing Gehenna for the mistakes that they're making. TCRM picking up another one, and looks like they're also going to try and get some staggers here again. He's forced to go back with the Fire Strike. Space Cowboy going to be switching over to the junk right now though, so TCRM probably did his job. I say probably, definitely did his job applying pressure on that Widow, stopping them from getting the sightlines and picks that they were previously getting. I do see a blade combo coming up here, but with the 6 ults defensively. There's the Dragon Blade, there's the grab. So many ults coming out. The other is thrown defensively with the backline with along with Coalescence, and the other one getting 2 pretty big picks. The main tank and the main support are going to go down. That's going to allow them to push forwards here. Marmon getting the 3rd, maybe getting a 4th here onto Space Cowboy. Troll picking up one of his own kills as well as Bob too. I don't know if Cowboy's going to get out though. It looks like TCRN is going to be trying to get the kill, but he isn't able to with the respawn of Knifeflick there to protect him with the beefy boy shield. So many ults coming out of that fight, and the 6 ults that Pheonix previously had has now gone down to 2. Still 2 fairly big ultimates if used correctly, and you can kind of combo them. Blade, Blizzard, not a usual combo, but looks like they are going to combo it. Blade goes on to the Mercy, he's dashing back into the Blizzard, getting a 2nd one. 3rd one goes down mostly because the Blizzard console tried to pick up 2 kills as well, and that's going to settle that fight. If I almost said concentrated, it's Cowboy left alone at one point, he gets hold, ends up going down, Delirium. Well, it says there's only 3 messages, but there's not. I think it's bugged, honestly. Do have a Shadow coming up though for Knifeflick, as well as both support ults and the Riptire ready. I think I would build that Riptire in one fight, which is pretty impressive. Defensive Diva Bomb almost available too. Got 2 picks last time and saved them in quite a crucial situation with the Trev and Dragon Blade coming out. So probably going to be looking for another big one of those. Aquatic ends up taking out TCRN, which is going to open up this fight pretty well there. All is also used, so they're not going to have to worry about that for their offense, as well as Ice Block being forced out too. Knifeflick spins in, doesn't get any value from it. Riptide coming through, Shadow also coming through. Shadow misses because of the shield and the Fortify. Blade is going to be used to try and clear up the remainders of Pheonix on point, and they're going to win this fight with the use of quite a lot of bolts in the end, only really leaving them Gravitate can be built in this last little Saga section. TCRN does get back to touch in time, but he is going to go down to the Junkrat mines. Bub getting trapped by the Junkrat is also going to go down. Troll's just trying to get as much time as she can for her team to respawn, and Delirium and Marmon make it back. Hoping to grasp the straws. Even does come up, but there is a range shot there to keep them alive. It does get Blake though. I'm not completely sure how. They were all crouched behind the paling, but sometimes Overwatch do really be like that. Space Cowboy demeching and Knifeflick taking out Jardio. Aquatic does go down though, so there is straws that can be grasped up here to maybe come back in this fight. Troll getting a pick on the Space Cowboy, but the passive does end up killing Bub. TCRN getting a pick onto the Rhine, and it looks like he could possibly stabilize here. It's only Nova left. He does get off of the point. Not Flums gets back in time. It's Frums, I'm sorry. Nova ends up going down, and Frums cannot recontest. So, a really drawn out fight, but they did manage to stabilize it over a long period of time with the 1-by-1 picks coming in. Starting off with the Diva Bomb pick onto the Mercy, obviously. Still, though, quite respectable way to push it, almost all the way to the end. So, we go say hi to Chad again, and slowly move our camera back to the start. Where is chat? Hello chat. Score is, yeah, 2-1 to PA. Thank you, Nels.
Ready for battle.
Let's go Gehenna. Yes. Gehenna should go bowling. I'm sure they'll do great.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Oh, the Bastion, dude. That's when you know it's desperation hour.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Nothing like
I'm your
cheeky bit of pirate ship. And it might honestly work for them with the deep defense matrix to let and they get a lot of the spam damage that's going to be coming in. With the Orisa nerf, obviously, to the shield, it's going to be a lot harder to get that constant shield up in front of him, but whenever the shield goes down, you do have that essentially infinite shield. It's not really an infinite shield. My controller died, oh no. Ooh, interesting strategy. They tipping onto the high ground, the whole is there to try and pull them down, but doesn't really get anyone, and they're going to end up TPing back. There's so many angles that Pheonix are going to be shot from here, and it could try to be a real issue. If it comes out onto TCRN, it looks like he is going to be able to get back behind the shield in time and get back to safety, and Marmon ends up getting the first pick of the fight onto Space Cowboy. I almost said John Cena. Jardio ends up freezing Piggy here, and looks like they're going to end up getting a pick onto him. But Frums has gotten 2 picks in the backline where that's all happened, and he's got a third. He's DMX Marmon, and he also blocked the Diva Bomb. He has a 4th. He could kind of change this fight single-handedly. It's just Bub left on point, and Aquatic Blue is also back, so there's going to be a lot of healing. Oh, Frums. Kind of just taking that fight and being like, nah, we're not losing it. Ends up getting 4 picks that fight. The Diva Bomb would have got both the Mercy and the Sim there, but the Sim will just save them, so very smart play. Looks like Nova's going to be looking for a hook here. He's like, sneaking around on the high ground, maybe trying to get the Bastion or something. Does look like he's going to hook. He ends up putting the Mercy, unfortunately can't follow up. Still, the pressure is nice, and while that's happening, we did see a pick onto Blake happen, so he's going to be pushing fairly aggressively. Hook does come through and pulls Bob out of position. Fine, and also they could get 3 or 4 the cooldowns I use, and they get out of the way, but I'm sorry. It did definitely do a lot for them, but not enough. It only got 1 pick, and while the rest of the team got a safety. Will From be able to make a clutch again? No, he ends up going down to bomb. Looks like they're going to be able to push this point into second, but there is some people left for Gehenna here. Aren't going to be able to touch though. TCRN does get hooked by the hog, but there is the support there to keep him alive. It looks like they are going to be chasing the hog here too to get the kill. Hook. I'm just gonna. There we go. Oh, he's holding them. He gets frozen though. He's still alive with the Bereaver. Looks like he's not gonna make out the flashbang. Oh, that's so unfortunate. A nice try though. Blizzard could be big. I think it's gonna hit 2 or 3 people here. It allows them to get the Mercy and probably the McCree here too. I'm gonna fort here with the pick onto the Orisa and then go onto the Moira too. They chased that hog so far. and it really ended up paying off. But gotta say, Gehenna really did try to keep that hog alive. There were stuns there for him. He used so much to keep himself alive, but it just didn't work out in the long run. If he did live, it might have gone a little bit differently, but there's no way of knowing. This Bastion setup is kind of disgusting. They snuck around through the back of bank, got onto high ground with the Arista, and just set him up there, but the kills for Gehenna are coming through, so they kind of had no shield for the rest of the team, because they chose to make that play. And you know, Space Cowboy as well as the rest of the team pretty much had free damage coming into the other half of Pheonix there. They have also managed to maintain quite a few ults for that fight too. Both support ults and the Bongo ready. The Bongo is going to help From's probably get his Dragon Strike. It was going to be Dragon Blade, but he switched. Oh, a little duel between TCRN and Space Cowboy. Space Cowboy does end up falling to TCRN though, and it's going to open up the fight for the rest of Pheonix. With this plan, pressure still applied from the top left, it's going to be hard for them to do much. And Nova getting a trade onto Marmon and Bub also going down, mostly because the Bongo applying that 50% extra damage, and that's going to signal the retreat of Pheonix. Oh, Space Cowboy comes back and says, no, I want to win the 1v1 this time. I haven't been keeping track, but I think it's fairly even. They ended up using 2 ults that fight for Gehenna, the Coalescence and Bongo, so 2 ults that you can use pretty freely. Coalescence comes back really fast if you're doing a lot of healing, which most monitors will end up doing, especially in a team comp like Double Shield. And Bongo can come back fast. Really depends how much damage you're pumping out on the enemy team comp. But we'll see. D-Bomb is going to be thrown out, and that could be big. Could have got 2. Unfortunately, it's a little bit short and only gets Mercy, but that's going to open up the fight. Basically, we're winning the fight between him and TCRN, but I don't think it's going to be enough at this point, because they're already down 3 people console trying to get Aquatic, and then Froms, and it's just Space Cowboy left on the point 1. They're probably going to end up rolling this second point in, giving them about 2 minutes left for a third point. Which, if they do cap, they will mean they win 3-1, I believe. And there will be no second attack because they barely were short. Look, oh, that's a big Saga pick, and it looks like they're going for more Saga picks. Mercy does get the res off on tonight, but the Voop was there, but it was a little bit too late. It's just flying back to the rest of the team, but does get caught in the blizzard. Also, Jardio really playing quite aggressive here. Getting this lead second, unfortunately, does go down to the primary fire of the Space Cowboy. But the pressure has still been applied and the space was still there, so losing those 3 or 4 people that Gehenna ended up losing, it's going to force them back pretty far here and give so much player loop progress for Pheonix. They're going to use Dragon here to try and separate, and it gets 2 people. Oh, that's so big. They also put both support ults, I guess, to make sure they can definitely stabilize here in this fight, and they are going to do just that, leaving Mom hit. Doesn't look like they're going to sack her, just immediately kill her. Switch over to Orion instead of Arista here for Nightflix though. I think that's just more of a comfort pick. He seems to definitely perform better on the Arista than he does to the on the Ryan than he does to the Arista. Oh, they try to get the kill on Jardia, but he just puts the wall up and allows himself to get out without getting sagged by. But as Athena just told us, 60 seconds left. Could see a couple fights left, or maybe just one depending on how long it goes. TCRN is going to open up the fight with a dash on the Space Cowboy, and he is going to be able to make it out before going down to Aquatic, but does get res, and Nightflix gets made. Bomb thrown in, could get a couple in the backline, doesn't unfortunately. Mercy is able to fly all the way in time. Frums and Delirium getting a pick onto a couple people there, so pretty important trades for the defensive side. Blade is going to be used as Riptire. Riptire getting 2 and shutting down the Blade as well, so no more kills going to be coming out for that. And they really only have 1 fight left here.
10 seconds remaining.
Only 10 seconds as well, so they have to get back in time. It looks like Marmon is going to touch to allow that team to get into the overtime. Both coalescence are being used Looks like one's used more offensively than the other. The other one's mostly there to keep people alive. Beat drop is used to keep everyone on Pheonix alive. Dragon gonna be coming through on point. Delirium getting a pick on Space Cowboy, but then going down to the Dragon. That's giving them a 2-player advantage so far. Console Shadow getting one, and T-Saron also getting one. Shadow coming through and getting bumped. T-Saron getting a second this fight. He does unfortunately get pinned, and it's just Knife Flicks versus... oh no, there is Froms there. This could be winnable for Gehenna. It's just Jardio and Froms. Space Cowboy does make it back in time, but before the recontest, and he's going to go down. And I believe that's 3-1 to Gehenna. So, yeah. It was fun killing my throat.
Play
Oh,
of the game.
play of the game.
2-2.
It's 2-2? Oh. I am very stupid. We're going to a map 5. Am I really that dumb? I'm trying to think. Pheonix won the first map. Gehenna won the second one. Who won the third map? Oh, Pheonix. I thought it was the other way around, my bad. Okay. Well. Map 5, I guess. 1 second, I need to die real quick. Hello, I'm back. I did not... Not much happened in chat, bro. Wait, Marmon's a Diva main hacker show? They were doing pretty solid with the Diva bombs, I must admit. Had a couple big ones. Especially the defensive one when the Grav Dragon came out. Very, very nice. Diva 1 trick to be exact. Well, I don't blame her, Diva, him, them. Diva's fun. My throat hurts. Mum, and if you see this comment, it's out of love. One tricking's fun, to be honest. Train a kid, he can't aim, put him in the game, put him in you for the game. If someone can't aim, you just put them on something like Orisa, Mercy, Moira, May, Reaper, Junk. Then you don't need to throw the game anymore. Ryan also works, but I think it's pretty easy to throw the game as Ryan. Please, McCrean fans the hammer. It's weird. To be fair, there's a clip somewhere of Effect using like only fan the hammer in a fight. And I swear to God, this man hits like every fan the hammer shot, even though it's, you know, how you meant to aim that shit? He's just like ba 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 and gets like 4 people. That's crazy. I quickly check the match chat. Mel, since Archer's gone, are you okay with riffing?
I mean, they both seem legit.
Okay. Swap space for red. Who's space? least 2000. Oh, you know what? My brain's too small for all of that. Or Beaver, I don't think you can starve people, man. That's like very bad parenting. They might have to call Child Protective Services. Our team is communist. You know what? Communism is, well, it's something, so. If Stalin can do it, so can I. Oh, no, no, no. Boo. I'm not completely sure what we're waiting on. But, I've got quite a lot of changes. Waiting for ready. I know that mouse. I've got. I'm dying. Help. I've got quite a lot of changes. Murloc Sweet's coming back in. Previously performed pretty well on the Winston. That's right, now I remember. PA won that map. Yes, I remember now. Murloc Sweet's coming back in. Might be on the Winston again. He definitely performed on it quite well in other maps. And Alice also coming back in. But I believe I saw something about Red also being put in. I'm not sure. Oh no, they're on different teams. I'm stupid. 1 second. I'm being spammed with party invites, so let me just tell people to leave me alone. Should have turned them off, to be honest. Very unprofessional. I hate this cough. Ella's also coming back in. I need to get a drink. 1 second. I'm sorry about that, gamers. Sometimes you just have to die. And I hope that's okay. Where was I? Right. The trades. Allison or Sohi coming back in. So, popular streamer. I'm very popular, man. So we're probably going to see a bit of that Hanzo that he previously was playing in the other maps. Was solid on that as well. And not many changes coming up for Gehenna. They put Noisy Noise in over Marmon. So rest in peace, Diva One Tricks. But I think that's it for that side. We are going to be playing on everyone's favourite map, Busan. So lots of variety in team comps here. Death Ball's pretty viable. I've seen Ball work amazingly for some people, and obviously the infamous Orisa comps. Everyone knows them and definitely loves them. But we shall see as we load it in. I was about to say load in, but no, we're here to Busan down. We might see the Widows. Space Cowboy has been on the Widow. He's been doing quite a bit on it. Picks here and there, opening fights, during fights. Always nice to have on your team if it's happening to you. Not so much if it's... My English is so bad. I'm sorry. It's not nice to be on the receiving end of a Widow hitting her shots, you know? And he's going to be locking in the Widowmaker. Oh, it's the monkey arrested. This could be exciting. Now, I don't want to say anything or ruin it, but every map Dog Squeaks have been in, Pheonix have won, so just saying. My hair's falling out, bro.
3, 2, 1. Round 1. Capture the objective.
Here we go. We have loaded into the map. Gonna see both teams slowly making their way towards the objective. And looks like my Dog Squeaks is gonna be looking for a dive here. Does jump up onto the high ground for the Widow. Ends up killing her. I thought the Widow was gonna make her way out, but no, the pick is there and he's gonna jump in to do some more work on the point, forcing the Maze Ice Block already, maybe even able to take her down here too. Looks like they are, as long as the pick from Super Melissa is gonna probably secure that fight for them. Or he getting two as they try and make their way out. He's got a third. That's quite a big stagger. I'm gonna have to wait an entire 10 seconds for that respawn. And gonna slow down the next attack quite a lot. I wanna watch my Dog Squeaks, but I don't know if it'll let me. That's not him. You know what? Good enough. All does come through kind of blocking off my Dog Squeaks, but he is unable to jump out in time. Also getting a pick onto the Reaper, not something you see all the time. Monkey killing Reaper, quite a hard counter to him. But let's just end up getting pinned and taken out. Everyone rotates to try and get the Rhine, and Bub does end up going down during that time period. Trades coming back and forth from each team, so 3-3 at the moment. Make it a 4v2 with the pick from Space Cowboy coming out of the respawn onto Wosi. Promo is here hoping to boot some people. He does get frozen and taken down though. It's just the layer 1.5, so trying to get as much time as he can. Ellis is back with a respawn. He does end up getting a pick. He does get 2 picks and he's going to try and make it around the point, but he cannot touch it in time. Ends up falling. Rest is back pulling through together, but with the shield that comes up, it's not going to be easy to follow up on it. Ribbity coming out behind, a little bit sneaky there, behind the front line. And going to be pushing on the point. Blizzard there to stop their push. The Reaper, the TP behind, has ended up getting a pick onto Delirium. He might get a second one here, or he might end up going down. He doesn't make his way back to the team, and he gets the healing from the quad handle. That's going to learn that split. Dragon comes through, does a fair amount of damage to Noisy, but he manages to get out in time. And From's getting a pick on OC as he was trying to get out. Might see a switch coming from Woso here. No, he's gonna stick on the Hanzo. Oh, Space Cowboy. He's being a sneaky one. He's got the Death Blossom ready from high ground. He's looking for an opportunity to use it, and there is a lot of details. He's gonna go anywhere now. Gets 1, gets 2. Can't get a third. He does get taken down by, or who picked up 2 in that fight as well. From's getting a 3rd pick for Gehenna. And with no main tank, it's going to be really hard to push in here. And we're closing in on potential last fight for Gehenna's first point. I guess defense at this point, because they're kind of holding. Hook does come up, but it doesn't connect. Wall coming through. Fortunately doesn't catch anyone behind it. Alex getting a pick on Super Cowboy though. Space Cowboy. That's gonna fight. Delirium going down to the Aquatic Blue. Mongo coming through. Shadow also going down, but it does get blocked. Pin coming out to its blocked by the Fortify. Blizzard used defensively are gonna make it so much easier for them to flop on the kills. They did get 3 picks, but the Blizzard definitely coming in clutch there. It's just Worsey and Mydog Squeaks here trying to win the fight for their team. But there's not much you can do in a 1v3 against a Tracer, Moira, and a Mei. You're just gonna be frozen and eventually sucked and clip the death. Doomfist and Lucio do make it back in time for the recontest along with the Bull and the Moira, and they're going to be trying to stall out as much time as they can. Hopefully the team can come back with ults, but there's not really any ults on their team to use in clutch here. Looks like Bub is going to get grabbed here. Don't really want a ball spinning around forever trying to stall. From's picking up a wound for his second, and then Dog Squeaks end up going down before they really can get to the point to recontest. And the first point is going to go to Gehenna, so
Score 0.
potential match point there. Well, it is. Yeah, it is match point. That's how this game works out.
Ready for battle.
We're going to see a switch from both teams. Alice moving over to the Sombra, and looks like Pheonix are going to pick up the double shield, the Orisa and the Rein. Not too many changes coming up from Gehenna, though. They're going to stick with the same Rein Zarya, just going back over to the Widow. Alice switching over to the
5, 4,
Junkrat.
3,
Some may say his specialty hero, so let's see what he can do on that.
round 2. Capture the objective.
As both teams approach the point. Obviously, the blue team should make it there a little bit faster with the Lucio speed boost, but not completely sure if that will matter. It definitely will have some impact because of the bunker comp and make it a lot harder to deal with. And they are set up with this wall, kind of cheeky positioning, giving herself a little bit of high ground above the rest of the team, just found damage in. Knifeflix sure does go down, but the pick from Space Cowboy onto Super Res is huge. Unfortunately, he gets res back up. Pin does come out, it is blocked by the wall. Space Cowboy getting a second pick, taking a really bizarre angle. Like, looking for some more, he does get a second one. That's his third this fight, maybe getting a fourth one to Super Allison. I believe he misses the follow-up shot, which could have been the kill. Really unlucky. Allison ends up taking down Froms, but the picks from Space Cowboy are still like taking a toll in this fight, and there's 3 and 4. Picking up 4 kills that fight is pretty impressive on a Widow against double shield. Knifeflix also doing a lot of damage that fight, as well as the healers pumping out so many heals for their frontline main tank, both having ult after one fairly long fight, but it's still nothing to snicker at, especially with the nerfed ult charge rate of Baptiste since the last patch. Alice also does have Riptire though, so probably going to be looking for a big one of those, maybe get a pick or two onto the back line. Dogspeaks is going to get onto the Widow here that's been causing trouble, and he does get the pick. The Troll going down to a Firestrike. Riptide coming up is going to pick up 2. That's honestly huge. Shadow also coming down to landing on 3 for Knifeflix, but he can't follow up. It's unfortunately not as big as the Riptide that came out from Super Anderson. So they're going to be able to flip this point after killing the Mech who was on top of the thing. Let's get booped down, but halted back up. And the point is going to flip at about 50%, so... my controller's dying again. Let me plug that in real quick. I think... okay, no. Woe was always on the hands, I believe. So, no switches there. I'm honestly kind of interested to see what Dog can do on the ball. He seems to be quite a pretty present... I would say backliner, but like on the ball he can do a lot. But Gehenna honestly just kind of rolling in the point there, and Space Cowboy once again picking up these kills. And it's hard to get on top of him because he's in these really weird angles, sometimes even playing with his team if he has to. Just pretty it's a safe bet, to be fair. If you're playing behind your shields as a Widowmaker, it's a lot harder for the enemy to deal with you. The enemy dive tank, which Dog Squeaks is on, can't really get to you as easily without being CC'd. He fell off the map. I didn't realise. Wohi is going to pick up an early kill this fight, countered by from this pick. Blizzard also coming through. Not sure if it's going to get anyone. It does freeze Bob and forces... I'm dying, I'm sorry. Wohi to back up with the slow effect is gonna drop that as well, and again I might be able to close out this series right here and now if someone cannot get the point in time. Delirium and Dog are going to touch in time, and they are going to be able to use the ult. Might coming through, doing a fair amount of damage to the shield, but not really getting any picks. Riptide is coming through, gets one and the lamp, but so much damage from that Riptide allows the rest of the team to really just come in and clean up on those kills. Dog's picking up two, and Bob's getting one with the fire strike, getting the second with the hammer onto Frums, and I'm just going to call him Sophie. It's a lot easier picking up a later kill on Space Cowboy. And they're going to be pushing up a little bit aggressively here to try and get as much time as they can out of Gehenna. And they have to play extremely well, because if they lose this point, it's over for them. Oh, there's a wall there. They do have both tank ults here for Gehenna though, and a Matrix. So with a fire strike through that Matrix, they could easily win the fight here if the grab is big enough. Sombra is going to end up hacking Dog Sweep, swapping back with team. There is the grab, it gets 3 people into it. No fault right now. Delirium gets the counter on the shower. I think the Tracer could do so much damage to it. Bub picking up a kill, the Slime coming in alone. Wohi to get a pick onto Noisy Noise, and Frum's going down as well.
This will heal you.
That was honestly huge for Pheonix. They used 2 really big ults there. 3 really big ults. The only ults they really had at that point. And kind of just dealt with all of them pretty adequately. Bub is going to push up stun, but it looks like he's going to be able to get back to his team. Meanwhile, there is a ball spinning in a circle. Shadow comes through getting one. The pin comes out onto him. Bubble is there to keep him alive, just barely. I don't know if he's going to be able to get the pick. Flash fan going on to Bub, applying loads of damage, but he's going to be able to stay alive for all of this, and the ult's coming in from Pheonix is getting a pick after pick. The new contributor gets pinned into a wall. That's really unfortunate. And we're going to go on to a third and final map for Busan, which I think is Mecha Base. So
Score.
it could be interesting.
1-1.
It is.
Ready
Okay.
for battle.
Let's see the switches. We're gonna probably see Nightflix go back onto the Rhine here. It's not pretty solid for Rhine as well, to be honest. And Dog is gonna move back over to the Winston. So Cowboy switching off the more sniper type characters and going for a more brawl-like with the Reaper pick. It's gonna be kind of hard, or not hard, but make it harder for Dog to do
Round 3.
as much as he has done on previous maps, for sure, but sorry. We'll see how it goes. Both teams obviously taking the high ground stairs approach. Going opposite sides though, Reaper is pushed. He doesn't use Wraith in time, and Alice picking up 2 picks. Nightflix charging in, doesn't connect with anything, and he's gonna get taken down by Delirium. And that's gonna be a really clean fight, opened up by Super Alice there, with 2 picks and a third one later on onto, what, a 4th, onto the Moira and Zarya. And they're gonna be taking a pretty forward hold here, which is gonna work out amazingly for them with the Hanzo and the Junkrat spam, on top of the the every now and then damage rolls that are gonna be thrown in, and all that. Looks like Gehenna opting to take the fight low ground though, and the rotate is there for it. Ranger swinging in, applying low damage. That monkey cute. Riptide's coming in, it could be big. 3 people. Obviously that was they helping gather them all together, and they're just going to be trying to follow up on the remainder of Gehenna here. Body going down as well as Frums. Reaper is the one who actually trying to get out, but so he getting the shot in the back, taking him down. They have still so many ults to use here in this next fight, more or less 5, because, well, maybe not 5, Lucio Beat takes a little longer to build than some ults, but the Primal, the Shadow, as long as they're not using Conjunction, they could be pretty big ultimates. And Primal could honestly be huge here, with so many people near the edge of the map, he ends up getting 2 off the map. And that's going to force the rest of Gehenna back almost immediately. Huge play from Bugspeaks there, knowing that there's the environmental capabilities for kills there, just popping his primal and ending that fight way earlier than it could have even started. Knife's going to be pushing up here though, trying to create a little bit of space for his team. Shadow does come through, he does get rid off though, so it's going to be hard for his team to follow up with it, and he does end up falling. Defensive Dragon coming out, getting a pick, but the lamp is there to keep most people alive on the side of Gehenna. They're still going to be pushing in here, and Knifeflix coming close to that Shadow. This could be honestly huge from Gehenna if it lands and gets a couple people. They're going to push on the point. Trilla's going to use her Coalescence here to try and save the fight. Doesn't take down Blake with it. It does fall though. Shadow coming through, landing only one person, but they are going to cap and foot at 99. Pretty important, and they do have a solid amount of ults too to hold maybe fully or for a long enough amount of time to stabilize fully. With they're opting to hold points, so let the enemy team come to them. They have got the Reaper set up in the high ground with the Blossom. Probably going to try and come in and get a pick or two. Does drop down onto Wosi, whatever, and guess one. I guess a second. Ellis getting a pick off the Nightflix, so, and Bugspeaks getting frozen and beamed down. Ellis getting a second pick as well as Bub. It's a 3v3 right now, I believe. Pin coming, it does not connect. Trill helping keep the Rhine alive. Ellis getting a third for this fight. Trying to get the fourth onto. There's the fourth. Beat does come through to keep the rest of the team alive. It might not be necessary. Nightflix is back, trying to get as much tick on the points as he can. They Cowboy here with the Blossom, but there's just the shield and the everything to stop him from really getting those kills. He does still end up getting 2 out of it though. Wolfie getting his own 2. Shadow coming down onto space for to stop him from doing any more. Crumbs is going to try and get back in time, but he's going to get booted back and then pinned. The Zarya does make it the point though, and Bob is kind of caught off out of position here. He does manage to live though. The grab almost could have been huge, but only really got one. And looks like Pheonix are going to stabilize here with just amass dots they had over time without really having to use any for any of the fights, and they're going to end up winning the third map, making it 3-2 to Pheonix ascending. We're going to see the play of the game, and then I'm going to go cure my throat of death because I want to die. Oh, Aquatic, she's had 2 plays of the game so far. Both for Coalescence, oh, not both for Coalescence. It's probably just, yeah, just a shit ton of pills pumped out in the fight, as well as the damage that was done with Coalescence prior to going to that healing frenzy, I suppose. And I think that's it. So have a good evening, day, whatever, and I'ma head out.